Hey, lovelies. Okay, so yesterday was a really bad day. As you will have seen already in the beginning of this video. Not sure if I'm gonna post it as two videos, as like yesterday's separate from today's, but yeah, let me tell you, it was rough. That night, the feeling of dread last night did not leave me, and my chest was constantly tight, and I had to kind of concentrate on my breathing to not let it get out of control. Sorry for the appearance and the hair. I've just got out of the shower. I'm at my mum's. I had a rough night last night. I didn't get much sleep at all, and neither did my husband. I had an episode of restless leg and arm syndrome. I don't know if any of you have experienced it, but it is awful. It's not painful. The only way that I can describe it is, you know, like if you're watching, I don't know, someone making a fool of themselves and you're just like, oh my god, I can't watch, and you've got that intense cringy feeling in your stomach. That's what it's kind of like, but in my legs. I'm used to having it in my legs because I am diabetic. But last night it was really intense. It was in my arms, it was in my chest, and it was in my jaw as well. Like, I kept feeling like I needed to clamp my jaw down because it was just the only way I can get rid of the feeling, and it only gets rid of it for like maybe a minute or two, is by either curling up or stretching out. Basically, I need to kind of stretch out the muscles. So or tense up the muscles or stretch them. And that kind of releases the feeling for, I don't know, like maybe a minute. And it is a horrible feeling. I mean, usually I just get up and I walk around for a bit until the feeling goes. But last night, I just couldn't do it. And like I said, it was in my arms, it was in my shoulders, it was in my neck, my jaw, it was in my chest. And I was really freaking out because if I wasn't on new tablets, then I wouldn't have worried about it, because I would have put it just down to like just an intense attack because you know, from diabetes. But I'm having a lot of severe side effects from the quetiapine. So, and I was freaking out. I really was. I was scared. I was just like, oh god, I need this feeling to go away. It's a horrible feeling. It's not painful, but oh, it's just, oh, I don't know, it's horrible. But so my husband called NHS Direct, and they, you know, took all the details, and then they called the out of hours GP. So then it was just waiting for the out of hours GP to call us, and so I was telling him what was happening, and he asked, has this ever happened before? I said, well, it has in my legs, I'm diabetic. And that just kind of changed the whole conversation then, because he wasn't interested, because he just said, well, yeah, that's not really something that we deal with. We don't deal with ongoing issues. And I was like, okay, I get why you say it's ongoing. I guess it is ongoing, but not in my arms, and I just want to know if it's anything to do with this tablet and if I'm in any danger. And he was like, no, you're fine, just speak to your GP. I was like, so eventually I went to sleep, and I woke up this morning and I was just, my head was hurting and I was just freaking out, to be honest. I'm really worried, like I'm really scared about the tablets that I'm on, because I know they're serious medication and can be severe. So I came over to my mum's today. My husband, bless him, he's on flexi time, so he just called in and said that he was gonna be like 10 minutes late or whatever. So he brought me over to my mum's, because my mum lives in the village where my doctor's surgery is, and I live like 20 minutes away. So, and it was early, so I couldn't like call him there and then. Anyway, so I called the surgery and they're like, okay, we'll get a doctor to call you. And I was like, okay, cool. So the doctor called and I told them what had happened yesterday, like with anxiety and so I told her what was happening, and theory. My husband had to we were watching this documentary the other week or the other night, mental health, and there was like it was basically like one person from each kind of mental health issue, mental illness. They were saying about lithium. Now, I'm not actually on lithium, and I'm not on a tablet that contains lithium, as far as I know. I did look it up. It wouldn't matter to me if I was on lithium, but the thing that the expert said on this program, this documentary, was that if you're taking lithium, then it's really important that you take the exact same, like every time, lithium. So if you have it from a different manufacturer, then your body's going to absorb it differently. So you need to stick to the same manufacturer of the drug constantly. So that was my second theory batch of quetiapine, and the first batch was totally different, like from a different manufacturer than the second one. So I put this theory to my doctor, and she was like, yeah, that could she told me to stop taking the ones that I've got in the house and speak to the pharmacist and get him to give me quetiapine from the original manufacturer. I think the manufacturer is Lupin. Lupin Europe. That's the original one that I had. So I called the pharmacist. He was like, oh, I can't give it to you unless you bring the other ones back. And I was like, no, I'm like 15-20 minutes away by car from my house. I don't have the drugs with me. Stupid, I should have brought them, but I didn't even think about it this morning. My head was in the shed, like pounding, and I hadn't gotten much sleep. So he was like, oh, I can't give you any unless you bring the other ones in. And I was like, no, I don't think so, because the doctor has told me that I cannot take the ones that I've got in the house. So unless you give me those tablets, then I'm gonna have to skip a night, and that ain't something that you can do on antipsychotics. She was like, well, there's blah blah blah, and I was like, when I was like getting so wound up, I was like, look, I'm having those tablets. Even if I have to come up and make a fucking fuss, there's no way on earth I am going without my tablets tonight. I don't give a fuck about the rules, because I've had to literally fight to get these tablets, like originally. I had to fight to be seen by a psychiatrist. Well, still haven't been seen by a psychiatrist, but I had to fight to see, to get acknowledgement. Literally fight. So I'm willing, because the NHS and the mental health care in this country is shocking. So I'm more than willing to like kick off if I have to, and because I'm not gonna get pushed around by any fucker. I'm gonna get the help that I need, and nobody's gonna stand in my fucking way, because I have lived 35 years telling the doctors that there is something wrong with me and it's not just depression. They have wasted so many years of my life. I could be over this now, you know, like, but instead I am only now starting therapy, well, drugs, and I'm still waiting for my first therapy session. I'm still waiting to see the psychiatrist, and I've had to fight literally for that. So I am, and my mum is the same. My mum was like, I think my mum was like, I wanted to take the phone off me and screaming on the phone at him. But when it comes to my health, I don't give a fuck about someone else's rules, and I've always been that way, always. So I called. Oh, he then said, right, I will go and speak to the doctor, and I'm trying to help you, but if you talk to me like that, then I'm not going to help you. I was like, oh, that's professional, giving me an ultimatum, is it? You can't just choose to help someone or not to choose, you know. Anyway, so he hung up. OMG. I was like, hold me back. No, I wasn't really, but so I was fuming, I was tamping. My mum was fuming, and she was like, did he just hang up on you? I was like, yup. So I basically called the surgery and I made a formal complaint. Well, I have to actually speak to head office of the pharmacy to make the formal complaint, but I spoke to the manager of the doctor's surgery, and he said, yeah, don't worry about it, we'll get those drugs delivered free of charge for you today, and I will go and have, I mean, I explained what happened, and, you know, I said, my doctor told me to do that, so I didn't just phone up off, you know, my own back and demand drugs. I was like, I'm following my doctor's instructions. So, yeah, he said, don't worry, no worries, I'm sorry about that, and we shall get your drugs delivered to your door. So I was like, too right? No. I was like, okay, thank you. I was quite shocked. I was ready for another fight, but honestly, like, it is ridiculous, because they will fob you off a lot of the time, because they are stretched and you've literally got to fight to get what you need. And so that is why I want to start my campaign, and I'm collecting stories at the minute, and I'm going to make a video on that. Well, not stories, they're actual things that's happened, but I'm going to make a video on that, because highlighting the issues that we have in Britain. And I don't want to do it just for Wales, I want to do it for, you know, the whole of Britain. I know we're under like different authorities and whatever, but no, it's just wrong. It really is. So yes, I am still collecting information from people about what they've experienced on the NHS, and I will be making a video of it. And I am going my MP Geraint. He is absolutely wonderful, to do with animal abuse. He's Labour, and they are the ones that are responsible for like a crap ton of the animal rights acts and laws. And they don't just get those laws passed for this country, they do it for others, like with the ivory trade and you know, like shooting game, like big cats and things like that. So yeah, and he's lovely. He's written to me a few times because I've, you know, brought up issues with animal cruelty and things like that. So yes, I will be making an appointment to see him, and I just want something to change. There has to be something. There has to be something else besides what we have already. But yeah. So, I told my doctor about yesterday as well, and she was like, that sounds like panic. So apparently all of yesterday was my anxiety being a bitch, and I was literally, it was literally a panic attack, like a severe one. Yeah, so I have been anxious the last few days. Not so anxious now. I'm actually back to being good, back to myself. I'm feeling good. I'm glad that I'm back on track. I'm back to being myself. I'm back to being happy. All is good, and it's really good. I am having kind of slight anxiety about being away from my dog because of the panic yesterday, but yeah, no, she's happy, she's healthy, she's eaten a ton already today. She's had scrambled eggs. Bye for now.